As Dragon Ball Super begins to die down following the epic battle with Zamasu, Goku Black, and our heroes, we take a bit of a wacky turn as Arale returns in Dragon Ball Super. Goku is shown having a part-time job and a new arc awaiting on the horizon. Things are taking more of a settling tone before we dive into more encounters, and this episode proved just that. What's going on, Dragon Ball fans? Welcome to my Dragon Ball Super episode 69 review and breakdown entitled Goku vs. Arale, Earth Ends in a Wacky Battle, leading into Dragon Ball Super episode 70, with the God of Destruction from Universe 6 Champa making a return in Dragon Ball Super, having to play baseball against our heroes. And again, please note that this video will contain lots of spoilers, so in case you guys have not seen the episode, you have been warned. This was a very hilarious episode. I would have to say this episode was much better than last week's, and I think it was very rewarding to see Goku and Vegeta all dressed up and whatnot. And before we officially begin, I want to take the time to say, if you guys have not subscribed to this channel, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. That way you guys are always in the loop with Dragon Ball. And also don't forget to hit that little bell icon next to my name. That way you guys are always notified with any Dragon Ball video I post out. YouTube is acting up and its system is really down right now, so in case you guys want to be up to date with Dragon Ball content, make sure to slap that bell. And of course, if you guys love Dragon Ball, make sure to slap a like on this video to show your love and support for Dragon Ball. Now, this episode was as wacky as it comes. Now, many people aren't too fond of filler, but I would have to personally say that sometimes filler is definitely needed. And having a look at the episode preview, I think that next week is also going to be hilarious, having Champa return, having Yamcha wear the Universe 7 baseball gear, which is pretty funny and pretty cool if you ask me. Even though everyone hates Yamcha, I myself in person looking forward to seeing how he does, because in the episode preview we see how everyone is wearing uniforms, everyone is there, and legit, it's a baseball showdown between Super Saiyan Blue Goku and Champa and everyone else. And we see how Beerus is even wearing a baseball outfit, so everyone is being a part of this game. Of course, we see how Whis is the referee, which is hilarious because next week, I think, out of the 3 filler episodes, this one is going to be the best between Dragon Ball Super episodes 68, 69, and 70. I think 70 will be the best one, especially with how Champa is playing baseball with everyone. We see how they're trying to strike him out. We see him running to first base, to second base. We see him trying to get to third base. We see how everyone is struggling, and essentially enough, it's a baseball game. It's legitimate American baseball, so that is something that I am really looking forward to. Now, going back to Dragon Ball Super episode 69. Now, in order for you guys to fully understand the story, you're gonna have to know the history of Dr. Slump, and not everyone is going to enjoy this episode, but this episode was enjoyable for the sole reason of Goku having a job. And right in the beginning, we see how Bulma and Vegeta are invited to the World Invention Award for the best inventor, and we see how Hercule is trying to present this award for the best inventor of the time, and we see how Bulma doesn't win, obviously enough. Mashirito, I believe his name is, I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name, he wins with a really cool invention that is able to grant wishes to people that ask for it. And then we see how Hercule wishes for some merchandise or whatever. So like right in the beginning, guys, we see how like this award show or like this award ceremony is taking place, and Vegeta, he's all dressed up and it looks like he really doesn't want to be there. He seems very agitated. He's not speaking to anybody. He's not talking to anybody. We see how one of the ladies puts a microphone in his face asking him live on camera what he thinks, and he doesn't even say anything at all. So Vegeta could really care less about all of this happening right now. And we see how Bulma's having a good time. Trunks looks to be a little older. I'm not sure if they're gonna make these kids age. They really ought to do that, because what's the point of keeping Goten and Trunks as children when so much time has just passed by in Dragon Ball? So Goku is a security guard, right? So Goku is standing watch, and you know, he's not really digging the role of being a security guard. You know, his sleeves are starting to rip and whatever, so he tears his sleeves off. He redoes his hair because his hair was all gelled up, and he walks away. So we can only imagine that he will not be returning for this job ever again. Poor Goku being a security guard for a short amount of time, and it's because of Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi forced him to do that. But nevertheless, the beginning had the traditional Dr. Slump opening with the pig announcing that Arale is in Dragon Ball Super, and then later we see her making her way towards the award show. Now, she gets there and she's starting a whole bunch of trouble, and Hercule's trying to ensure the people like, hey, listen, you know, don't worry about this or whatever. And then he offers to play with Arale, and that's a bad idea because she flings Hercule, you know, halfway across the room, and people are beginning to panic, and he begins to yell at the crowd saying, don't worry, I mean, everyone will flee. And you know, she's being controlled by an evil scientist, and so we see how Vegeta stands up and he's like, you know what, I'll play with you, and which results in a really bad idea because we see Vegeta get launched out of the building, and Goku's sleeping on the floor. It's traditional Goku. He's on the floor, he wakes up, and he sees Vegeta being tossed around, and he's like, what the hell? So he sees Arale sees him, and they both point at each other, and even though they kind of don't recognize each other right off the bat from the beginning, we see how Vegeta is like, what the hell, like, she's super strong, like, what is she? So he tries to lie to her, he tries to play her off a couple times, and even launches directly at her as he punches her in the face, you know, directly up in the sky, and then she comes back and she knocks Vegeta onto the ground. And it's funny because there was one sequence to where Vegeta was like, hey, look, a UFO, and the poor girl, you know, she looks, and Vegeta kicks her into like the side of like some stone monument, and her head comes off. So we see how Arale, she stands up, and she puts her head back on, and she tells Vegeta, I am a robot, and, you know, she breaks the entire world, like, she cracks the entire world in two by punching the ground. Like, who would have thought she would be this strong? So, you know, Goku's like, crap, what do we do? And he becomes a Super Saiyan Blue, and then once that happens, Arale is just all excited, you know, she's beginning to, like, you know, launch, like, these energy attacks at Goku, and Goku counters it by unleashing his Kamehameha wave, and with that counters her attack. But we see how Arale, after that, is saying that she's going to unleash an attack even stronger than that, and Goku's really excited, and we see how Bulma's trying to contact Whis and Beerus, in which case they come into play later, and we see how Beerus is sleeping. But the one thing that I didn't really understand here was how Beerus was able to wake up after this. Now, we see how, you know, Hercule wishes for the invention that was created by Marishito, that they wanted to wish for a delicacy that tastes really, really good, in which case Bulma grabs a camera, and she's asking the people to think about the most delicious food ever, so in which it can be created to summon Beerus and Whis. And we see how a coffee ball is created, and Beerus wakes up easily. He wakes up so fast, and they begin to head to Earth. Now, we see how they also wish for a block of poop. Now, we see how this poop here is on a stick, and Hercule, Trunks, and Bulma are arguing about who's gonna bring the poop on over to Arale, and we see how Trunks is the one to do it, and Arale gets distracted by the piece of poop, like she's poking the, you know, the piece of poop with the stick and whatever. I mean, she's a child, at the same time she's a robot. So we see how Goku's like dumbfounded. He's like, what the hell is going on? Like, he just seems like a little confused that this is all happening, but he doesn't really mind it too much because he realizes that she's not that much of a threat to him. I mean, even as a Super Saiyan Blue, we can all agree that he would destroy her, correct? So we see how Beerus arrives, and he does something that I thought was so cool, and he destroyed Marishito by pointing his two fingers after eating the coffee ball, and he destroys this dude. Like, Beerus didn't even look at him, and this dude just went Hakai, like it was over. So as quickly as he came, he destroyed someone, and then even after that, we see Beerus try to destroy Arale before his stomach started acting up, and he had to leave right off the bat, because as soon as they got there, they left, because after he ate that coffee ball, that was it. Like, Beerus left. And of course, going into next week, he will come back again. There's been lots of interaction with Beerus as of late, I've noticed, with him having to be a background character, and even though we don't really see his like displays of feats of like how strong he is, we see how he taps his foot on the ground before leaving the planet, and Arale is sent flying onto the wall. You know, her head comes off, and that's how strong Beerus is. That's how much of a presence Beerus has. He just literally tapped his toes on the floor, and Arale got sent flying into the wall with her head decapitated before he wanted to destroy her, which is why I've grown to like Beerus more and more, because Beerus just seems to display more, you know, a sense of character in this show so far, which I've loved, because in Battle of Gods, I mean, ever since Battle of Gods up until this very point, a lot of us have grown a huge liking to Beerus because we see how much Beerus has improved since Battle of Gods, and there's a lot of, you know, story development and character development going on for him, in which case we all want to see what Beerus is truly capable of when it comes to battle, in which case I really do hope happens sometime in the future, because this is an event to where I think that they're foreshadowing Beerus per se, because we see how easy he can just destroy someone. So hopefully down the line we'll get to see Beerus more involved with our characters, with other characters, and I will say that next week will be the final episode before we go into the next arc, because after that on December 18th we have Goku Dies, the assassination that must be performed, in which case I don't really think Goku's gonna die. However, we're gonna have Hit debut in Universe 7, and it's going to be a sight to see because we haven't seen Hit since the Universe 6 tournament. But of course, speaking of Universe 6, Champa is going to be coming on by, and I cannot wait to see how Champa is going to be interacting with everyone, because Champa has a very unique sense of humor and a very unique way of talking to people and, you know, just being social. So I'm curious if Champa ends up losing in baseball, what he's going to do, or what the wages are, because I'm pretty sure Champa isn't just there to play for fun. Something has to be on the line here. Again, we're going to find out more information as the week goes on by, but leave your thoughts down below, guys. What did you guys think of this episode? And of course, what do you guys expect to see in the baseball game with Champa? Because I love the fact that everyone is working together as a team. We see Goku, Vegeta, Beerus, Goten, Tien, Piccolo, Yamcha, they're all wearing baseball gear. I mean, it's something that we haven't seen like ever. I mean, since when was the last time we ever saw everyone get together and work together in a game of anything? I mean, aside from competing with each other at the tournament, aside from having to do anything of importance, I mean, this is just all fun and show. So it's gonna be really cool to see that. Of course, I'm really curious as to what Beerus is gonna say once he sees his brother again, because Beerus doesn't really like Champa too much. But Dragon Ball Super episode 69 for me was a very, very decent episode. There were a couple of laughs and a couple of chuckles that I've had with watching Goku be a security guard, with watching Vegeta kick Arale as he lied to her about a UFO. So it was a really cool episode. It wasn't anything crazy. I think next week will be better, but let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below about this particular episode. What are you guys looking forward to in next week's episode, and what are your overall expectations going into the next arc? Because we all really hope and expect to see something really dramatic, something really suspenseful, but I want to know your overall thoughts on this episode down in the comment section below. Thank you all for watching. As always, I hope you guys have a very blessed weekend. In case you guys love Dragon Ball, show your love and support by slapping a like on this video. If you guys are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe for tons and tons of Dragon Ball content, guys. Hours and hours of Dragon Ball videos for you guys to go ahead and watch and enjoy, from top 5 videos to discussions to Dragon Ball Universe 2 and all kinds of Dragon Ball videos. Hundreds of hours for you guys to go ahead and enjoy. So if you guys are new, don't forget to subscribe, share the video, guys, to help support UnrealEntGaming. Thank you all so much for your love and support. I truly hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Tune in for more, and I'll be seeing you all in the next video. Take it easy, guys, and God bless. Peace.